Now, next topic, last thing really here with the inventory, gross profit method, and then having a purchase commitment, which is a derivative of forward contract. But when you see gross profit, this is going to be used for periodic inventory and for interim, generally quarterly financial statements, okay? So the gross profit method for periodic inventory and then your interim financial statements. Now, inventory under the gross profit method is going to be valued at what we call retail, okay? And you'll see why that is, because we're going to back into what the cost of goods sold would be given today's price for the item, today's selling price. We'll see that in just a second. And purchase commitments are about a rule of conservatism. You know, sometimes when you're buying inventory, remember what we learned with LIFO? If a company's smart and they see prices are rising period after period, they could do one of two things. I mentioned earlier, they might want to stockpile and buy a lot of their inventory in January before prices go up. The only problem with that is you then actually have to store that inventory. You'd have those storage costs. So in lieu of buying all the inventory in January, if you think prices are going to be going up that year, you can enter what's called purchase commitments, a forward contract. You sign a contract today, and then you're going to lock in a purchase price now because you think prices are going to be rising. The only problem with that is if prices don't rise, you screw up and actually prices go down, you can have a loss on that commitment. Okay, and then we know the rule of conservatism. When you think you're going to have a loss, you don't wait to book that loss. All right, if it's probable and you could reasonably estimate it, guess what? You'll be booking that loss immediately. All right, so here we go. Gross profit method. You ready? When are we going to be using it? Periodic inventory system. All right, so gross is periodic. Okay, gross is periodic, and we use it for what kind of financial statements? Interim. All right, your quarterly. All right, so inventory is valued at what? Retail. So let me show you how to do this step by step. They tell us Dow Company sells soap at gross profit percentage of 20. Stop right there. Step number one. If every time they sell a unit, 20% goes towards gross profit, where did the other 80% go? Cost of goods sold. Step number one is complete. Piece of cake. Step number two, let me figure out my beginning inventory. What did we have in beginning inventory? 100,000 given. How much did we buy during the period? Another $100,000 worth of inventory. So how much do I have available for sale? And this is in dollars, not units. I have $200,000 worth of inventory available for sale. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. What were our sales this period? $200,000. Coincidentally, it matches what we have available for sale. It's just a coincidence. So if you sold $200,000 worth of stuff, how much of that is going to go towards cost of goods sold? 80%. So 200,000 times 80% is what? 160. So if your available for sale is 200,000 and then you sold $160,000 worth of stuff, then we can infer your ending inventory would be what amount? $40,000. That simple. So gross profit, okay, when you see gross, you think periodic. For a periodic inventory system, not perpetual. We wouldn't need to do this for perpetual. You just need to do it when it's periodic and your interim financial statements, okay? We want to back into cost of goods sold for our sales so then we can figure out what has to be in ending inventory. Now, in this example, we're just messing with you and said, hey, there was a flood and it destroyed all of your ending inventory. So then what would be the loss? What would the loss be for the destroyed inventory? $40,000. What would have been in ending inventory? Okay, firm purchase commitments, a forward contract. It's a legally enforceable agreement. We're promising to buy our inventory in the future, but at a price we're locking in today. If prices go up, well, then you know what? We're going to make money on that contract. But if prices go down, you're going to lose money on that contract, okay? So if you don't have your crystal ball, if you forgot to change your AA batteries and your crystal ball's not working, maybe prices don't go up. Because if they go down, you're going to have a loss. And if we have a loss, what's the rule? Rule of conservatism. If the loss is probable, right, and it can be reasonably estimated. Look, we need both of these conditions to be true. Number one, if the contract price, you're going to pay a higher price than the current market price, which went down, you got a loss. And it's expected that the loss is going to be there when the purchase is made, that prices are not going to rebound and go back up. Then you got to book that loss. So look at our example. Let's see. J&S signed a contract. They're going to be buying timber, $5 million. They locked in a price of $5 million. Unfortunately for them, at the end of the year, the price dropped to $4 million. And it's expected that that loss will occur when the contract is in effect in year two. So we're not expecting a great deal of volatility. We don't think the price is going to go back up. Because if you expected a lot of volatility in prices to go back up, then you wouldn't have to book the loss. But because we don't expect prices to go back up, we got to book a loss. So we locked in a contract price of $5 million. The market price is only $4 million. We're expecting a loss of $1 million. Got to book it right now in year one. You can't wait for year two, rule of conservatism. So we debit the loss, credit a liability. By debiting the loss, your profit goes down, which reduces your retained earnings, which reduces your equity. So equity is down, and then obviously we're booking a liability. So equity down, liability up, no change to assets, okay? So, that's pretty much it. All right, so the inventory, you got a lot of questions to practice, slow and steady. Inventory very likely to be tested, okay? Got a long, predictable history. Slow and steady, you make a mistake, don't worry about it, write it down, learn from your mistakes. That's part of the process. Don't get discouraged if you're making mistakes, and don't try task-based simulations until you've done the bulk of the multiple choice and feel really comfortable with the topic and the basic formula. Then you apply it to the highest level, the task-based simulation. All right, so good luck studying. I'll see you guys in fixed assets.